Hello everyone, this is Coach Dinosaur. Here is another video of the Queen versus Rook and Pawn Endgame. In this position, I will show you how can Black draw this game. And also, Black may lose this game as well. If you do not study this, for White, for example, you can actually win this game if Black does not know the theory. The same goes if you are Black. If you don't know the theory of this endgame, you may end up losing. So if Black to play in this position, Black can draw the game. And if it's White to play, White could actually win the game. So here, we will demonstrate to you how can Black draw the game. So the first objective of Black is to put the king behind the rook. So the king should move to the 7th rank, whichever here. Alright. Now, White's purpose is to stop the king moving on that 7th rank behind the rook. Of course, if you see the very first glance, the Black's pawn is really a big pressure to White's winning advantage. But with the idea of zugzwang, White could actually put a pressure to both king and rook, and the Black's pawn may be captured if White securely and accurately do the correct move order. If Black also does not know how to deal with the theory, eventually Black will fall. So here is how can Black should continue the game. So here, Black should play King D6. So the idea of this King D6 is to move to King E7, D7, and or King F7. And eventually, there's no other way for White to stop the trick. So for example, White plays here to stop the king moving to D7 or E7. So king moves up. Alright. Check. Check. And for example, White plays here. King just, reach the center, and here is already a drawish position. So here, but if Black does not know how to deal with this line, if for example instead of King C6 he plays here, then eventually Black loses. Alright, so if you know the theory for White, then eventually you can pull the win for White. But if you don't know, yeah. So this is a winning position where if king moves here, king captures. If protects the pawn, check. Protects the dark squared pawn, and check. And eventually, king captures. Of course, queen captures is not possible because of this. So here, very important is king c6 move. The idea is to do not let the king create a zugzwang form. Alright, so this is a totally draw if he plays king d6. Now, if, for example, Black plays here, this is totally losing. Same goes. Alright. So here, Black eventually cannot play this because of the skewer. And if, for example, he plays this move, then check, the same goes check. And here the same position that we just discussed just now. So if again, let's put a wrong move. So the idea is to make the zugzwang move. So this, in this position, it's really a zugzwang position. So here, if Rook plays on e5, now we have check, force to move on d5, and now Queen moves to b6, a second zugzwang form where he has to let the king move now. So for example, Rook moves on e8, check, fork. It's not a possible move. So if for example he plays here, eventually Queen moves on c7. Again, cannot move here because of the fork. So if for example the king moves here, then check, force captures. And this zugzwang form, if example he plays here, and now we have a very good move, king d3. And if pawn pushes, then check. So yeah, check, queen takes, e5 is totally losing. So here the only way, if yeah, we already, if we already talk about the other possibilities, like for example like that, then check and eventually lose. Yeah. So it's really a losing position if he plays king c6. So if black does not know how to deal with this, the only move is king d6. Eventually white has no chance to stop the king from moving on 7th rank. Okay, so yep, and there you go. It's really a totally drawish position, and this is really hard. And first of all, there's no other way for white's king to stop the pawn, and if he moves up in 2 moves, the pawn on the 3rd rank will eventually promoted to queen. Now if white to play, okay, let's create a position where white will play. Okay, so now in this position, if it's white to play, if white does not know the theory, eventually white will draw. Example, if you check, then eventually this is a drawish position. Alright, so here, if it's white to play, white can actually pull the winning move, which is the only move, queen b8. Boom, to stop the king from moving on d6. So again, there are other example, check, then eventually you have to protect the rook, but you will lose the pawn, and this endgame is totally a winning for queen. And if black plays this position, then yep, good move. So if pawn pushes, check, capture, or if rook checks, then king captures. So that's why it is really deadly if you move on b8, because to stop the king from moving. So if c6, there you go. If you check, totally it's a draw. But white plays queen d8. So this queen d8 is really a very strong move. So for example, he plays here, totally it's a winning move. So here there's a rook e4, which we have talked just now. So here we have queen f6 is forced to play king d5, and now the zugzwang move, queen b6. If this move does not know the if white does not know the theory, eventually this will end up drawish, even though you have done the first zugzwang. Okay, the second zugzwang must be known. So here there's no other way for for black to win. For example, he plays king e5 example. So here we have check. Okay, queen f4, then queen f2, queen f7, check, king g4. We just say this, king g5, check, queen f4, and now what a move. So here is the reciprocal of what we have done just now. So again, if you do that, check. All right, so eventually this will fall into the fork threat, right? So after the bishop e6, and if this move, here you go, and wins. So if for example check, king takes, and there's no other check here because king will just capture. Pawn pushes, too bad, it's a total losing position. So a very important endgame, a theory that if you do not know, you will end up drawing or losing, whichever side you will be. So I hope you like this video. Please subscribe, and I will have more videos in future. Thank you for watching this video.